Hello everyone, today I told you about the most disgusting foods that Westerners ate. Let's start if you are ready for everyone. Number 10, Alaskan Ice Cream. Stage 1, beat a seal to death with a bat. Stage 2, hold up, who thinks about Stage 2, how about we make a more intensive gander at Stride 1. Sufficiently sure, a kutuk, known as Alaskan Indian ice cream in Alaska, is a dessert made in Canada and Alaska with roots in the local Eskimos of the districts, yet in addition received all the more extensively by those living there. While all of us utilize fat from eggs or milk to make our frozen yogurt, this one uses caribou fat and oil from newly beaten seals. Yes, you can legitimately pound the life out of seals in Canada. 1. You can likewise legitimately chase polar bears. 2. It is blended in with berries and sweet roots. Also, if improved and chilled seal fat doesn't make you feel sick, what about this? It is generally made with the expansion of fish and dried moose meat. That is correct, fishy, substantial, frozen yogurt produced using slammed seals and creature fat. It's not helped by the way that it would appear that a bowl of wiped out either. 9. Rough mountain oysters, known by an assortment of names, for example, criadillas in Spanish-talking nations, and prairie shellfish in parts of North America. These are seared bull's gonads. You can utilize your creative mind with regards to working out why this dish is named after the foul shellfish that gives us wonderful pearls. The balls are served in an assortment of ways, the most famous is crumbed, and keeping in mind that they were once nourishment for cowpokes, they are currently well known in numerous spots among ordinary people. On the off chance that you get a craving for a significant piece of balls, you can drop into Bruce's Bar in Colorado, where they have been serving them since 1957. With an end goal to blend things up, they additionally serve sheep and buffalo testicles. Various other American towns likewise have yearly gonad eating celebrations. 8. Blood clot soup. Blood hot dog, or dark pudding as it is additionally known, is a certain something, however a bowl brimming with blood clusters is something else completely. Except if you're Lithuanian. Krajini sriuba juka is a soup made out of the substance of a whole chicken, duck, or goose and a decent estimated cup loaded with blood. It is completely bubbled together with a couple of herbs and some grain and eaten with dark bread. Blood is a mainstream dish of numerous European nations and is eaten in an assortment of ways, most ordinarily, as referenced, as Frankfurter. Yet, in Scandinavian countries it is additionally in some cases filled in as blood hotcakes with a side of reindeer meat. All in all, Lithuanian nourishment is exceptionally rich and incredibly great, and the country has extremely low paces of corpulence. Perhaps we as a whole need to begin drinking blood clusters. 7. Fish guts. At the height of its use in the 1st century AD, garum, a sauce made from rotting fermented fish innards, was incredibly popular in the Roman Empire. It was frequently combined with wine, oil, ground pepper, and even just water to make a range of different sauces or drinks that could be consumed straight or added to other meals. Even the most cash-strapped laborer could afford basic garum, while the fanciest version would bankrupt even the wealthy middle-class landowner. Factories dedicated to its production sprang up across the empire, and dedicated trade routes carried the stinking liquid to its furthest reaches. There is no exact equivalent in the West today, though the fish sauces of Asia come close, and English Worcestershire sauce is made from fermented whole anchovies, guts included. Wildly popular at the height of the Roman Empire, it faded with its fall and drifted out of Western cuisine, perhaps due to the utter stink of the stuff. 5. Mice. You may think about a dormouse as a lethargic little hamster or a character in Alice in Wonderland, yet to certain individuals, they were and are nourishment. In old Rome, dormice were cooked as an exceptional delicacy. The Romans brought them up in a unique earthenware container called a glorarium. In the wild, dormice rest for the whole winter. In the glorarium, which was kept dull, the dormice rested all year, which is the means by which they were swelled. The containers had little flights of stairs for the dormice, places for them to store nourishment, and air openings. At the point when they were truly fat, the dormice would be loaded down with nuts and cooked with nectar and flavors. Generally, they were filled in as a hors d'oeuvre. Today, wild dormice are as yet pursued and eaten in certain pieces of Slovenia and Croatia and are viewed as a delicacy. In different spots, they are straightforward bites served between 2 or 3 bits of bread. Maggot cheese. Kazu marzu is a traditional Sardinian cheese made from sheep's milk. But the true grossness factor comes from what the cheese contains: writhing live maggots. The cheese is brought to a stage that some consider to be decomposition. Larvae of the cheese fly are brought to the cheese to help break down its fat. They eat through the milky mass, making it soften, and seep a liquid known as lagrima teardrop. While some people remove the maggots before consumption, many people consume the cheese maggots and all. When doing so, people are advised to cover their eyes, as the maggots can leap out in an attempt to escape. I think I'll stick to blue vein cheese. Raw Puffin Hearts. Puffins are small birds with black and white feathers. They have cartoonishly oversized beaks and are absolutely adorable. Gordon Ramsay, being no stranger to controversy, recently came under fire for eating the raw heart from a dead puffin he had killed during an episode of his television series The F Word. Animal rights groups were of course up in arms, and many people objected to the cruelty of the act. However, the people of Iceland would not have batted an eye at his actions. The reason for this is that, in Iceland, raw puffin heart is actually considered a delicacy, and puffins are eaten for food all the time. Ramsay actually had all the proper permits and was cleared of any wrongdoing by the media authorities. Now, if the idea of eating puffin hearts makes you sad, grab the tissues. Because the French eat something worse. 2. Roast ortolan. This adorable bird is the size of a man's thumb and weighs less than an ounce. It is meant to be eaten feet first, with the beak and head being last, so you can enjoy the subtle flavors of the brain when the little skull breaks between your teeth. In 1999 the French government banned its use as food, but they also banned the use and sale of sea turtle shell and ivory, yet both are still legally sold via loopholes and legal exceptions for the very rich. The cost one bird now on the black market is around $180. The late chef Anthony Bourdain, who hanged himself in 2018, ate the bird and described his experience: "I bring my molars down and through my bird's rib cage with a wet crunch and am rewarded with a scalding hot rush of burning fat and guts down my throat. Rarely have pain and delight combined so well. I'm giddily uncomfortable, breathing in short, controlled gasps as I continue slowly, ever so slowly, to chew. With every bite, as the thin bones and layers of fat, meat, skin, and organs compact in on themselves, there are sublime dribbles of varied and wondrous ancient flavors: figs, armagnac, dark flesh slightly infused with the salty taste of my own blood as my mouth is pricked by the sharp bones. As I swallow, I draw in the head and beak, which, until now, have been hanging from my lips, and blithely crush the skull. If the idea of biting down on the itty-bitty body of an teeny tiny birdie doesn't make you cringe, you're heartless." What's more, number 1, chemicals. All over the place, it must be conceded. The sheer volume of synthetic concoctions of obscure starting point ought to sicken all of us. Consider, for a second, the run-of-the-mill Western grocery store. Expel the outside walkways, these are generally new nourishments like vegetables, dairy, and meats, and the cleaning paths, and what you are left with is essentially negligible human nourishment splashed in synthetic concoctions. The synthetic concoctions fill some needs, they add shading to iron-deficient items that essentially appear as though muck when mass-created in industrial facilities, they include or upgrade season, when all the normal flavor as fats is stripped out due to a great extent to the incredibly off-base and across-the-board conviction that creature fat is risky to people, and they add surface-altering characteristics, to keep powders dry, to keep fluids wet, or to join things that normally repulse each other together, emulsifiers. While a significant number of these are viewed as protected or safe in low portions, the normal Westerner is presently eating an eating routine of nourishments that are for the most part defiled somehow or another. To me, that is more appalling than some other thing on this rundown or any normal nourishment from history. Gracious, furthermore, just to polish things off on actually the grossest note conceivable, 3 lawful nourishment added substances you have most likely eaten for the current week are beaver butt-centric discharges, creepy crawlies, and human hair from China. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you want the continuation of such videos. See you.